lesson today begins with the whole idea of paper cutout character animation. How do you make a character look like it moves across the paper on a painting? Paintings would be the background. The actual characters would be the only thing that would be moving in the painting. So they actually look like a painting because they're made of the same material, watercolor paper and ink, but they're not the painting itself. They actually become the moving part and the feature of the film. So what I want to show you is very carefully, if you look up very, very closely here, we'll get real close. You can see I have a lot of details in this particular one right here. This is a moose, and you can see in the moose his eyes and the details that were put into the moose's antlers. All of these things move. The head moves up and down. If you look at the mouth actually moves open and shut. This actually hangs down, the neck, and then all of the shoulders and all the parts. The thing about it is that there are two legs in the front and two legs in the back. And if you want to know what this looks like on the other side, it actually looks like the front. They're actually two exactly the same, and they're actually taped and threaded together so that they actually look pretty much like a paper doll and a character that can move. Even the tail moves. So I want you to think about today making a character that has movable parts, many movable parts. If you're going to do a dragon or a combination of a couple of animals, or if you just want to do an animal for a subject, that would be completely fine. Just think about today, what are those parts? So what I've decided to do is a bear. I have a drawing of a bear down here, and the bear is going to be a really large size animated character. I'm going to give you a large sheet of paper that is 11 by 15, and a lot of these are watercolor sheets that sometimes we've used for different classes, or I've used to do demonstrations, things like that. You can actually use them on the back, and they're perfectly fine for making these great animated characters. What's great about the watercolor paper I'm going to be giving you is that it is 300-pound press or 140. It's very thick, like a cardboard stock, and you can have all of these movable pieces. But to begin with today, we have to make the drawing. This drawing I did not draw myself. I actually got off the internet, and it's kind of like a free art out there, and it's just basically of a bear. And that's the first thing you want to do, either make a drawing of a bear or an animal, get it off the internet and have a photocopy print of it and print it very, very large as you can print it, or do your own drawing. Maybe you want to combine a couple of animals together to create your special character. That would be perfectly fine. And then you want to create a lot of detail. If you look at this particular bear, it has a lot of hash lines, and those hash lines are going in the same direction. They're not going they're going every which way, but it does describe which way the hair is actually going. So when you're detailing, making eyes and nose and mouth and different things, you want to think about what those lines will be doing. So the first step would be to do a very detailed drawing of your character, and to take a look at things like what do the claws look like, and what does, make sure if it's a four-legged character that in your drawing you see all four legs. You don't have a leg that's kind of hidden behind another. And if this has a tail and this bear has a tail, and you don't have one in your drawing, you can always include one, but you have to kind of do a little research to try to figure out where the tail is actually going to be and how big it is. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use another material called stencil paper. So you will have stencil paper, that I will give you, and stencil paper is the Waxo stencil paper by Scratch Art. Is actually wonderful for making stencils. And it's also pretty see-through. If I put it up here, you can actually see the animal through it. So the first thing we would want to do is we go back to our bear. And we zoom in a little bit here. We'd want to put the stencil right over the bear. You can see the bear right through it pretty well. So first thing was to do the drawing. And if that's the first thing, then the second thing is to decide what are the moving parts that we're going to want. So what we do is we use this stencil paper to separate all the parts. So for example, the neck, we'll put the neck right here, and you can draw with pencil on this. It is a wax kind of thing, and you want to create the neck bigger than the body, bigger than the neck is seen. So you're going to need a piece in here that's going to have a little bit of that rigidity and the hair and all the shape out here to kind of go in this area. We don't need to do the details right now. Then over here, I'll fit in the head. Now the head, we can actually add a little more for the head. Then we go down through here and we're going to trace our own drawing or trace the drawing that you have. And you can see it has a drop-down mouth. So for now, I'm going to just do the mouth like this, and the nose, and the top of the head, and the ears. Now if you want the ears to move, they have to be separate. So if every object that's going to move is going to move in an animation, it has to be separate. So for example, your ear would be on this, separated, and there would be one ear like that, a little larger, and then another ear for the ear further back because it has two ears instead of one. And if I wanted a mouth, and here I'd want to close all of these shapes, and if I wanted the bottom of the mouth, I would do the bottom of the mouth like this. And that would be just a little shape with its open teeth, and this is where I could actually put some teeth in, that kind of thing. And that would mean that I would leave it open right here. So this part would be open, and I would not have that part actually drawn. So it would be a mouthless kind of bear, like that. So, and I would label all these. I would label this the jaw. I would label this the head, and this the neck. And then for the body, we're going to want a little bit of a shape here. And if I want this part to move, I would actually create, but I really don't want it to move that much. And I'm going to bring that down through here. See if I can do it with this a little better so you can actually see. So I know the body itself is going to be more like that. Where this is wax paper, it's really going to be good for a staple, but it is not very good to draw on. But it doesn't need to be much of a drawn line. Okay, so there's the body. We'll label that body. B-O-D-Y. We can hardly see it, I know. But there's no way to for me to make that darker right now. The other one would be right down here. If you look, you got to pay attention to what you're actually seeing. All right, so I'm going to create a leg here like this, and I'm going to create two of them, one and one for here too, legs like this. So this is for our animated movie that I would love to have you make someday with me next year. So this one will have the claws, and you want to be really careful to do the claws. The next thing I want you to do, and what I've been doing here, is going over all of my shapes, just drawing the outside of the shape. This is called drawing the silhouette, which is the outside shape of an object. So I'm also labeling these. This is 1, this is 2. The 2 is the bottom jaw here. 3 is the ear. Here's the other ear, 4. Then I'm going to do the neck. Remember we did the neck right here. 6. And then we're going to do the body. Don't miss anything. There we go. Go back and get whatever it is that you drew earlier when you traced the animal. So this will be 5. And the tail of the body will be here on this side. Just drawing the outside shape right now. This will be 7. Doing the legs, we'll do the upper leg here. The more parts you have, the more realistic it will actually be. This will be 8. Here's the foot. This will be 9. And over here, that'll be the other foot, 10. This will be 11. So far I have 11 parts. And then 12 for this one. Then the other leg. So each one of these has a right and left front and back leg. This will be 13. And they both have paws with claws. Does not have to take a long time to create something pretty interesting, but you do have to not miss this step. 15. Okay, put your name on your artwork too. I'm just going to put my initial. And then the next thing you want to do is start to cut these shapes out. So what all of these shapes represent is the bear disassembled into shapes. And then these shapes will be all cut out. So you want to start cutting them all out. You want to cut right on the line too. This is where your cutting skills are really going to take over. So you 6th graders, in order for you to get a passing grade this year and finish off art, you have to do a kinetic sculpture of some sort. You have to do a character that actually has moving parts. And it's important not to lose these shapes and to label them as to what they are. And you can see the smaller you make your animal, the more difficult it's going to be to create your character in the end. So there's the bottom jaw. And then let's do the ears. You only need to save the ear part and the mouth part, the head part. All of these components need to be saved. You do not need to save anything else. So this is where the one ear will go, and then there'll be another ear back here. And there's the mouth. And basically what we're going to do by cutting this, we are going to, I'm building my bear animal. Building my bear. And this stuff completely wipes off. So if it is a marker, sometimes they wipe right off. This is where the neck's going to be. And I'm going to cut. So it wouldn't surprise me that this isn't going to take ink very easily or pencil, but it's good enough for you to see. And what it's really good at is a very durable material. There's the body. I'm going to do the 2 legs right now. And this could take some time, so I'm going to cut right here and get back to you in a few minutes.